It wasn't so long ago in the history of man's voyage toward a better world that ships were carrying eager passengers toward the shores of a new nation that was just in the building. Our forefathers were constructing the foundation of this nation by interlocking inseparably the blocks of our political and economic freedoms.
That's Edgar, the owner of the factory. The only thing he really cares about is making profit. Edgar would prefer to pay his workers a tiny fraction of their current wages to keep more money for himself, but he knows that wouldn't work. Edgar is in competition with many other business owners. They all need a steady supply of human labor.
Even young Jonathan, an unskilled lad from across the sea, hoped to find a job where he could progress according to his ability and enterprise.
When deciding whether or not to trade with an employer, workers consider wages, but also working conditions and other benefits. If Edgar's offers aren't attractive enough, workers won't sell him the labor he needs to run his factory. So reluctantly, Edgar ends up paying market prices for the labor he buys.
Our business system has continued to provide a better life for our increasing population, in spite of destructive forces which have pounded against our foundation of freedoms with no avail.
Hi, everybody.
However, wars, or the threat of wars, interrupt the normal operations of our competitive business system. And may result in government controls which crack essential blocks in our foundation of freedoms. In World War II, wages were controlled.
Right now, there's a bill that would boost America's minimum wage to $10.10 an hour.
Many workers were frozen to their jobs. Farm prices were controlled. And profits of business were limited. Raw materials were allocated between essential and non-essential business.
It will allow us to attract and retain better talent, improving customer experience, reducing employee churn, and training costs.
Edgar is irritated. The minimum wage means that if he wants to stay in business, he has to either invest in machines to do the work that unskilled laborers like Simon were doing, or he has to move production to another country where minimum wage laws aren't a problem.
We believe doing so makes good business sense while at the same time having a positive impact on the community.
So what does the introduction of the minimum wage law mean for the workers at Edgar's factory? Vicky's work generates $23 an hour for Edgar, and her wage is $15 an hour. For every hour that Vicky works for Edgar, he's left with an extra $8 after he's paid her wage. Because Vicky's wage is higher than $9 an hour, the new law doesn't affect her directly. Bob's labor at the factory generates $10 an hour for Edgar, and his wage is $8 an hour. After paying Bob's wage, Edgar is left with an extra $2 for every hour that Bob has worked. But because Bob's wage is less than the legal minimum, if Edgar wants to keep him on, he'll have to pay him more. Edgar calculates that if he raises Bob's wage to the new minimum of $9, he'll still be gaining $1 extra for every hour of Bob's labor after his wages have been paid. Although Edgar will profit less from employing Bob at $9 instead of $8, a little profit is better than none. So Bob gets a raise. But the new law is bad news for Simon. Simon's labor generates only $4 an hour for Edgar. The $9 minimum wage is $5 more than that. Edgar would be losing $5 an hour by keeping Simon on at the new legal minimum. So Simon doesn't get a raise. Instead, he loses his job.
Raising the minimum wage is a mainstay of the president's economic policy. The CBO, the government's own bean counters, objective down-the-line analysts say 500,000 jobs will be lost by 2016 if you raise the minimum wage to $10.10 an hour, Bill.
When any force weakens the interlocked blocks of our political and economic freedoms, as good citizens, we must be quick to use the tools our Constitution gives us and repair any cracks that may appear. As long as we keep the foundation of our business system strong, we shall be able to maintain and improve the way of life our forefathers conceived and established. A way of life which gave everyone who came to this country the chance to progress according to his ability and enterprise. Like the youth of yesterday, the young people of today deserve the same opportunity to earn success and accomplishment. And on this foundation of freedoms, continue to build a better life for themselves and their fellow man in the world of tomorrow.